homicide, suicide. Okay, so it is the murder of a group of people. Holocaust, on the other hand, is a unique moment in history. It will never happen again. It was an industrialized murder because of technology today. Nobody will be able to say, I did not know, I did not hear, I did not see. At the same time, everything is instant. So you will not be able, okay, to annihilate from the face of the earth an entire population. And this, the annihilation, I will talk to you how did it start from nothing. The other problem that we are having in this country, but in the world, is that hate groups start very small, and we ignore them. And by the time we decide to do something about it, they have grown very powerful, and many times it's too late. So whether you know it or not, the Holocaust did not start like many people. Okay, Holocaust started at the end of World War I. When Germany lost the war, there was a treaty on the side with 3 punishments that were so severe against Germany that the German people lost their national pride. Number 1, they had to return all the occupied land. Number 2, they could not have a military. I have seen pictures of a German military marching in a military parade. Instead of guns, they had shovels. In number 3, they had to pay reparations to all the countries they fought against. And guess what? You believe that you know what inflation is, and believe me, trust me, you don't know. This country is in debt of $35 trillion. Let's see what happened in Germany in 1917. $1 American dollar was 1 German marks. At the height of the inflation in 1923, $1 American dollar was worth $1 trillion. You could have a wheelbarrow full of paper money, and you could not buy it in a newspaper. Nobody wanted it. Okay, those were the conditions that allowed somebody like Hitler to come to power. Please do not make comparison anything what's happening today to the past. Let's learn from it and prevent future tragedies. Okay. When Hitler came to power, he started with this very small group, only 6 people, through propaganda, using the media. In 1932, 30% of the German people voted for him. By the way, one of the things that he did, and it was very, very clever, okay, he treated the Jews and compared them to an animal. Anybody knows what animal? Rats. And why did he portray the Jews as rats? Because just like Jews, rats are very small in number, live all over the world, but they spread disease. And by portraying the Jews as rats, he convinced the world that the Jews are a danger not only to Germany, but to the world. That's why other countries participated in the annihilation of the Jewish people. Obviously, he boycotted the Jewish stores, and anybody knows what was Hitler's initial goal regarding the Jews?
Deportation.
Pardon me?
Deportation.
All he wanted to do is to have a Germany free of Jewish people. Judenfrei. He was not thinking yet of murdering them. Interestingly enough, he wanted to have a Germany free of Jewish people, Judenfrei. But the Jews were assimilated. They considered themselves proud Germans. They fought for Germany in World War I, lived there for centuries. Why did they want to leave? So then they came out in 1935, okay, with the Nuremberg laws. And the Germans knew what's happening, but they did not react in time, in appropriately, so it kept escalating. And the Germans are law-abiding citizens even today. I was in Germany 3 times. To illustrate what I mean by that, in the United States, 65 miles an hour is the benchmark. In Germany, it is the speed limit. Okay, so in the law, 1935, they told the Germans, do not associate yourself with the Jewish friends, with your Jewish neighbors. And because it was the law, the German people felt patriotic. But they were not yet, violent. The next stage that comes in the escalation, because people did not react in time, came in 1938. Germany annexed the neighboring country, Austria. And we are going to commemorate, in November 9, November 10, what is known as Crystal Nacht. Those were 2 nights of riot in Germany and Austria, but they were sponsored by the state. They murdered over 100 Jews. They destroyed and burned over 7,500 stores and synagogues and put in prison 30,000. That was the first time that the Germans became violent against the Jewish people. Interestingly enough, anybody knows what was the first concentration camp in Germany? Dachau. But I want you to understand something. They did not target the Jews yet. They targeted their political enemies. The communists, and most of the communists happened to be Jewish. But the Jews were not yet targeted. As a matter of fact, Hitler, he was a mesmerizing speaker, and he told the German people, the German military did not lose World War I. We were betrayed. We were stabbed in the back by the communists, always first. They were feared, and by the Jews. The Jews were hated, but the communists were feared. The Cold War and everything else that we know had to do against the communists. Comes right now, after that comes the next stage. No, before that I have to tell you something else. Each one of us can make a huge difference. And in Austria, the name of it was T4, but in Austria, they did medical experiments in guessed mentally and physically ill people. A German priest found out about it, made it public in Germany. There was an uprising, and guess what happened? The killing started. The most interesting part of it, the priest was never punished. And this is something that we are apathetic, we are not reacting in time forcefully. I guess what's happening today. Comes the next stage, September 1st, 1939, when they attacked Poland. Poland was occupied, Poland was annexed. It then became part of the greater Germany. And in Poland, they found a very good Jew, but they found 3.3 million Jews. What the hell do you do with it? And that gave the idea of exterminating them. Then comes the next stage, June 22nd, 1940, Barbarossa. The Wehrmacht, the German military, attacked former Soviet Union from the west, which today is Ukraine. Behind them were the special killing groups, Einsatzgruppen, and behind them were the Romanian troops. They annexed an area at that time former Soviet Union called Transnistria. And that's why we were deported by the Romanians and not by the Germans to a camp called those are labor camp. After that, in that period of time in Ukraine, they murdered 1.5 million Jews. Not have yet the gas chambers. That particular time, is known as murder by bullets. Okay? And now comes January 20, 1940. That is the official day of the Holocaust. 15 high-ranking Nazi criminals got together, okay, in Tennessee, a city which today is part of Berlin, and they decided the final solution to the Jewish question. Now remember, when I use the word final, it means that there were many, many steps that led to that particular point. And they started initially with Europe. They came out with a list of all of the European countries, the 11 million Jews. Once they were going to murder all of the European Jews, they were going to open up a museum in Prague. They were going to call it the Museum of the Extinct Jewish Race. Among them, there was a person, how many of you have heard? Adolf Eichmann. Adolf Eichmann was a Catholic in Argentina, brought to Israel in 1961, tried, okay, hanged. But interestingly enough, I use Adolf Eichmann as an example of the efficiency of the Nazis and their collaborators to murder 11 million people. Adolf Eichmann, in only 2 months, deported, towards the end of the war in 1944, deported 437,000 Hungarian Jews to their lands. That was the first time that the Holocaust survivors started to speak publicly. At the same time, the trial was shown for 3 months, worldwide, in every conceivable media, every single day for 3 hours. At the same time, the Holocaust survivors, like my parents, did not talk to their children. Did not want the children to be put to those sort of stories, and they wanted the children to have a normal childhood. Only when I started to speak in 2008, I'm a newcomer, the speaker circuit, only then did I realize for the first time that my childhood was not quote unquote normal. So these are, trying to tell you the steps, okay, very briefly that I went through it, to understand that we have to set up not when it's too late, okay, at each step on the way. And right now, there's too much hate in this world, and there are too many signs that could lead to other actions. I have 2 questions. Number 1, how many people were murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators? Say again? Correct. You listen to it. It's very important. How many Jews? 6 million. So I want you to understand, okay, it's not a Jewish issue, it's a universal issue. At the same particular time, is what does it mean to you? 6 million. Yes, a lot. Does it say anything to you? 6 million? To me, it's not. To me, it's just a number. I cannot relate to it. Forget about this. Let's bring it to a common denominator. If you would be on your feet and silent for 1 minute for every victim of the Holocaust, 6 million minutes, you would be on your feet and silent for 11.5 years. That gives you a totally different perspective of the tragedy that happened. And besides that, 57 and 75 million people died because of the war. It's also very important to understand, okay, that Holocaust was industrialized murder. We cannot realize, a lot of the people did not feel that they were actually murders, because a lot of things they had to do, it's like in a factory, you have parts. So each one, you made when you were born, where you were born, whatever it is, they did not feel that they're actually like in Romania, for instance, when I grew up, okay, if you want to have a very good job, you have to join the common. But I consider a Nazi somebody that will meet the Nazi ideology. So we have to differentiate, not to put everybody in one pot. But that's my personal opinion. You know. I will also say a lot of things to you that you may disagree. Okay, I am not politically correct. I am not going to ask you to agree with me. It's just a respect that they may have a different opinion. Before I go any further, I want to talk about October 7th. And as an Israeli, living there, I lived there for 12 and a half years, like I told you, I served in the Israeli Air Force. I was not surprised that Israel was attacked. What I was surprised is at their brutality. And a lot of people try to make comparisons what happened on October 7th to the Holocaust. Please don't. If you really have the need to make comparisons to relate to something, compare it to the brutality of ISIS. Even the Nazis were not that brutal. Okay. At the same time, I also predicted years ago when I screamed for a long time that there is no education in this country, there is indoctrination. What happened, recently in some of the major, most prestigious campuses in the country, some of the brightest young people that we have, future leaders of this country, when they will graduate, they will become educated idiots. And for Iran, okay, they are useful idiots. There is no such thing that is one side is guilty, okay? And we have to take this into account. So a lot of them, they don't even know what it means from the river to the sea. They have no idea. It just is a slogan. They want to feel that they belong, whatever it is, and they have that stupidity that is working. Now, there is a virus that can never be eradicated. And this is the virus of bullying, bigotry, okay, Jew hatred, hate, racism, and ideology. It was always there, it will always be there. It just depends on the technology. The only way we can combat it is only through education. And we must educate the next generation. My mission in life is a Hebrew word, I believe you know it, it's called emet. It's an acronym, the truth. This is to educate the next generation, to motivate them, like you, to motivate you to be the best that you can be, okay? To empower you to become an upstanders. All the tragedies in the world, okay, happened because the world stood by and did nothing. I wanted to become an upstander, not to be afraid to speak. And the last one is tolerance. For me, it means to accept other people's opinion, other people's culture. So let me tell you something else. When I was deported, I was only a year and a half. How did I survive? Yes. So I was subjected to medical experiments, and a German woman saved my life. When I'm talking about medical experiments, I have suffered all my life. And you're looking at me, you will not see it on my face. But I suffered every single second of my life, from head, neck, shoulders, and back. Because of my age, right now I have additional issues that are not related to those medical experiments. Okay, later on, my life was saved by German woman, and I want to make sure that we do not stereotype. Not far away from the camp where I was, there was a farm owned by Germans. The German woman brought food to the guards in the SS, and obviously she had access to go wherever she wanted. After the medical experiments came a stage that I was dying of starvation. They are physical signs. Big head, small stomach, small feet. When she saw the physical signs, okay, young Jewish kid, okay, done observation, decided at the risk of her entire family, not only her own, to gain milk. If she would have been caught, her entire family would have been murdered. I do not know the name of that person. I was not able to honor her. But 10 years ago, I was in Israel, in Jerusalem, and gave testimony at the Holocaust Museum, Yad Vashem. Next to the Yad Vashem, there is a garden. Honored 27,000, okay, people that say Jews. Do you know what they are called? The people that say Jews? Righteous among the nations. And I saw a marker honoring the unknown righteous among the nations, and that made me very happy because indirectly the woman that saved my life was honored. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about my parents. I know very little about my mother. I was not smart enough, and by the way, ask your parents many, many questions, okay? Because they live here, you have grandparents and everything else. Ask questions, I did not, okay? So I don't know a lot of the things. Find out where they came from, how life was, everything. So you should know, because you will have children. You have to teach them, okay? So, because I did not ask questions, and I don't know too much about my mother, but from my father's side, from 42 people, only 2 survived. How many countries, officially, unlike today, that accept many refugees from different countries, how many countries officially accepted Jewish refugees during the Nazi regime? Zero. Excellent, incorrect. Three.
We didn't hear you. We can't hear you.
Dominican Republic, China, and Philippines. Okay, my uncle was a refugee in Shanghai. He was a very poor man, and the way I understand, he was in the most luxurious ship, okay, and the last ship that left Germany, or Austria, whatever he was. I have no idea how he got the money, okay? But he was able to leave. The people had to be very creative in those days to escape. One of the other things that I wanted to tell you is that there were 3 types of camps. Concentration camp. When they brought the people to the camp, the commander, many times a doctor whose job is to save lives, would never say a single word, would just point right, left, right, left. One group would be murdered right away, the second one would become slaves and die through attrition, slowly. The second one was the labor camp where my parents and I were deported. Okay? There you die through attrition very slowly. So they worked you to death, they beat you to death, starved you to death, disease. Okay? At the same time, they also used people many times as a shooting target. Imagine yourself a person, a man, weighing 180 pounds. If that person survived, luckily, at the end of the war, that person would weigh 60, 65 pounds. And people, when they think about resistance, they think only about the military resistance. But they had the humanitarian resistance. If I was starving, all of us were starving, there was not enough food. If I had a piece of bread, and if I saw somebody in worse situation than myself, I would give my piece of bread to that person. Okay. The other thing is, for instance, whether you know it or not, in the concentration camps, otherwise hidden, you know, but they used to teach the children how to pray, how to read. They would have the songs, theater. It's unreal. This is a different type of resistance. I can tell you a story about something that you will be surprised, and it's apropos, adequate right now. There was a Nazi And he went to a Jewish violinist and he asked him to play. He did not know what type of music the Nazi liked, so he didn't play. So he came to him, Jew, play. Jew, play. So hesitantly he started to play, and as soon as he finished, that's it, play again. Play again. Do you know what the music was? It's the most haunting melody in Jewish life. Okay. Do you know what type of music dance they like? The Hora. So there were so many things that are really difficult to explain, contradictory in everything else. My father was an orphan of both of his parents. My grandfather died before he was born, and in those days, with very few exceptions, only the men provided for their family. My grandmother, having 8 children, decided to take the 2 youngest one and commit suicide. A stranger saved the children. My grandmother did commit suicide. So my father grew up in an orphanage in Vienna. At age 13, he was let go, and he had to learn to take care of himself. But that experience had to do with the war, and after the war, there was not enough food to feed the population. Now we have a very couple of very young kids. Let me ask you some questions. Don't be embarrassed. If you don't know, they don't know either. Okay? Can you imagine living in a house and there's no sink? Really? But we had to take a bath, we had to brush our teeth, to cook. Where did you take the water from? From the well. So imagine yourself how many times you had to do base and go to the well and back. It was quite a long distance. How about you? Can you imagine living in a house and there's no toilet? But we had to go. Where do you go? You don't know. What did you say? Outhouse. Empty. In the back of the outhouses, guess what? Another doors. I remember when I was in China, the bus suddenly had a problem. We said, no, one of the women had to go to the outhouse. So the rest of the women, they don't walk. But, you know, we did not feel discriminated or whatever, just because everybody went through the same thing and everything else. Now, anybody here is Israeli? Except these 2 kids. Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. Yeah, what do you think is the most lasting memory that I had when I set foot in Israel?
Everything was sand, there was no houses, there was nothing.
A little bit, correct. A little bit. Okay. It was actually seeing a Jewish policeman. And you would be surprised. Why would such a simple thing leave such a memorable image in my mind? Here, when I saw a Jewish policeman, I realized I'm home. We have our own government. We can make our own decisions. We're different. But then I realized we are different. And that is the most lasting thing. There's a lot more that I can talk, but I would like to open it up for Q&A.
How much did Franklin Delano Roosevelt know about the camps? How much did the Americans know about the camps in the early 1940, 41? And then why didn't they bomb the railroads when they had the chance?
Okay.
What was the
There's a lot of,
How much did FDR know about the And secondly, why didn't they bomb the rail lines when the new plan was to do mass people in the town?
Okay. There's a lot of controversy about FDR, whether he was, okay, Jew hater or not. Personally, I say no. The State Department was. The only criticism that I have of FDR that he did not stand up to that. And how many of you have heard of St. Louis? The ship? Okay, so when they came, initially they came to, okay, Cuba. 934 Jews received the visas. After 3 days, 23 were allowed to disembark, and the rest of them were not allowed. The captain of the ship was German. He did not want to bring them back, knowing, okay, what will happen to them. So he decided to come to Miami. Guess what? They were not allowed to disembark. So he took them back to Europe. 4 countries accepted them. And some of them survived, some of them did not. Okay, just want to do whatever it is. But it's another example. The United States had a quota. So many people, they didn't come to the United States. They did not even fill the quota. The State Department was very, very ambitious. Very good. Yes. So, answering your question, okay, my only criticism of him, okay, is that he did not stand up to the State Department. And they had their own agenda. They wanted a war. Okay, so that was not their biggest priority. Okay, so it was a war crime. So I personally don't like to criticize anybody. I'm not in their position. I'm not God. Okay, I'm not going to go in this one. I'm trying to understand it, not to justify it, but to understand it. Okay, but personally, my only criticism is the fact that he did not stand up. Yes. Anybody else? Sure. It's a very interesting. I don't know if you know about, I may mispronounce his name, Senator Mastriano. He introduced a bill mandating Holocaust curriculum in every school in Pennsylvania.
Can you say that again? You can't hear you over here.
Okay.
Can you go back to the microphone? It's easier for us. I know you want to walk around.
Well,
Thank you.
okay, let me try this. What happened is,
I think it was working pretty well when you were by the podium.
wait a minute, let me be here. Okay, can you hear me now? Yes, okay. So what happened is Senator Mastriano, okay, introduced a bill mandating Holocaust curriculum in every school. And I was the keynote speaker. The bill, and there was a reporter from WGAL. Okay, Beverly, I don't know where she is. Right there, okay. So Beverly saw that short clip, and she is part of a women's club, okay, World War II club, and she said to bring Sami, okay, to speak in the club. Apparently she did not like what I had to say, and decided, made it her mission to bring me over Pennsylvania, to go in different places and everything, so please give a big hand, okay. So I am not guilty, I am here because of her. Okay. And I don't know how she did it, but she arranged for me to speak in schools, to speak in adult person, so to speak, at you. Okay, I'm also she arranged for me to get a tour at Gettysburg. Okay, which I've never been there. Okay, I'm going to university. Behind. Okay, so that's it. Okay. And why she made it her mission, that's her. I cannot give you the answer. But that is right now, okay, what she would like to do to bring me as much as she can. As a matter of fact, I may have a conflict of interest because on November 11th, I march with the former crew members on the Intrepid in New York. It's a very famous World War II ship. And I march with the former crew members on the parade. But she is arranging for me to come exactly at the same time. So I have to talk to that person, okay? It will be tomorrow anyway, so it's lucky. And to see if we can resolve it. But I will have to be at one place, so I have to make a decision. Am I here in Pennsylvania or am I in New York?
Where do you live now?
Pardon me?
Where do you live?
Huh?
Where do you reside?
You sure want to know? Are you familiar with New York?
Yes, I am.
Do you know where 149th Street is on the west side?
You have been there a long time ago, yes.
It's Harlem.
Okay.
Now, the reason that I live in Harlem is because I had to go through many, many challenges, but I'm going to talk about two of them. I do not want you to feel sorry for me. Okay? I just am going to tell them, and I will tell you how I overcame them. Number one, I became homeless. I live under the poverty line. My official income in Manhattan, the most expensive city in the country, is $1,563. For a good breakfast, you cannot get away with less than $30. Very expensive. I don't have the best of everything, but I make the best of everything that I have. In Hebrew, there is a saying called Sameach B'chelki, which means I am happy with my lot. Being homeless, how did I overcome that? I got involved with the wrong people. They not only threatened me, but also threatened some of my friends, so I had no support system. So I overcame that by volunteering. And when you volunteer, whether you know it or not, when you help other people, you are helping yourself. And I used to volunteer for 18 different organizations. Each one gave me something that was missing in my life. And I'll give you two examples. Before I became homeless, I lived in Brooklyn, so I knew nothing about Manhattan. Manhattan, I used to come, I want to go to place A, place B, place C, that's all I knew about Manhattan. Now, I'm volunteering for an organization called Big Apple Greeter, taking visitors from other states and other countries. My perk was that I had to learn something about the city if I want to show around. My two, I grew up in Transylvania, which means I'm not a nice person. Okay, I'm the Jewish Dracula. But meeting people from all over the world and from other states gave me the opportunity, for the human touch and learn about different cultures and everything else. And at the same time, I volunteered for an organization, okay, does not exist anymore today. The management stole money, but that's a different story. But for many years, okay, what happened is I volunteered for them. And my job was a very difficult one. I had to pick up tickets, distribute to people like myself, to write a report, who came, who did not come, who was on time, and I had two perks. Number one, I could see the show. And number two, okay, unfortunately, I could be a nice person, So I could invite somebody to come with me to the show. I have seen more Broadway shows than you can think of. Sports events, theater, ballet, whatever you want, everything. Even a sport that I would not watch on TV if you pay me. I have no idea what's going on. Wrestling. But being at Madison Square Garden, it's absolutely fantastic. The kids scream. They know what's happening. Okay, the fireworks, the sounds, electrified. Every time I had the occasion, I could do it. So that gave me, okay, the need for culture. So each organization, I used to put in every week 60 plus hours. In each organization gave me something that was missing in my life. Now I'm talking about my son, and not being able to be in touch with my grandchildren. I have two of them, a boy and a girl. So how did I overcome that? All of us have a want and a need. A want does not have to be fulfilled. My want is to go to Australia. Don't ask me why. I cannot give you a good answer. So if it happens, wonderful. If it does not happen, I can go on the internet and see any city I want. But a need must be fulfilled. My need is to teach and to share. You are helping me fulfill that need. And for especially for the young people, when I go to schools, I tell them that for the time that we are together, whether they know it or not, they become my substitute grandchildren. That allows me to fulfill my need and to move forward without being stuck in the past. And when I became homeless, these were people that I trusted with my life. And I told you before that our leaders do not teach the young people responsibility. Okay? If anybody can correct me, I would be very grateful. But I don't remember in this particular administration, okay, many mistakes have been made. Not a single person has ever been fired, to the best of my knowledge. How did I overcome, okay, not being angry at the people, friends, that betrayed me? And I said, you know something? I made two mistakes. Number one, I gave them cash. I didn't put anything to writing. So I said, you know something? They are not guilty. They took advantage of my stupidity. So by taking responsibility, my need to be angry, to be vengeful, disappeared. And if I would meet them today on the street, they're complete strangers to me. If one of them would come to me and say, hi, Sami, I would talk to them. They are complete strangers. Okay? Will I be friends with them? Of course not. I learned my lesson. But that's why a need must be fulfilled, and you have to find a healthy substitute, okay, to overcome it. Yes?
Thank you so much, Sami. Everybody,
Have you served in the military? Did you? No, you did not. Okay.
I did.
You did?
I did.
Okay, what branch? So I'm going to do something in front of everybody. I served in the Israeli Air Force. Okay, so I'm going to salute you and thank you